too much. We'll tell you what Trevor's talk really means for his NFL career as we get up with you starting right now. On a Thursday from the Seaport, I'm Greeny. Delighted you've chosen to get up with us on a super busy morning that we have working here. We are 2 weeks from the draft, and we're getting into all that in a moment. But first, let us go through the events of a wild Wednesday in the world of sports. And we begin with an unbelievable finish in Memphis. Down by 2 in the closing second. That is Luka Doncic throwing up an off-balance one-handed three for the crazy win for the Mavericks. It's worth as many looks as we can give you. Again, they're down 2. When the ball is inbounded, he throws it up and it's good. Doncic would finish with 29, and that is how the Mavericks beat the Grizzlies. But hold on, there's more. Warriors and the Thunder last night. Coming off a 53-point record-breaking performance on Monday, Steph Curry had plenty for an encore. Look at the moves. Curry making going to the basket look like an absolute art form. He's up and under for the score, and then this is just magic. Look at him working his way, and then you give him any room at all, and he throws it in. Steph finished with 42 on the night, 11 of 16 from 3, and the Warriors win it 147-109. But wait, we've saved the biggest and the best for last. Carlos Rodon on the mound for the White Sox going into the 9th with a perfect game. Josh Naylor leading off the inning for Cleveland. And take a look, we got a very close play at first. Jose Abreu, oh, they get him! They call him out at first. Take a look at just how close Naylor comes to breaking up the perfect game. The play was reviewed. It was confirmed. There's one out in the top of the 9th with Rodon looking for the perfect game. The next batter is Roberto Perez, and you're not going to believe what happens. Oh, it hit him. The pitch hits him in the foot, and that is how he loses the perfect game. The ball winds up hitting him right off the foot, as you see, and that is where the perfect game goes. But he would strike out the next batter. Now he needs one more out for a no-hitter, and he gets it. That's Jordan Luplow grounding one to third. 9 innings, no hits, 7 strikeouts, a hit by pitch, the only blemish, as Rodon acknowledges the fans who were freaking. The White Sox win at 8-0 on a no-no by Rodon. The 20th in White Sox history. They're now the second team to reach that plateau. Only the Dodgers have more with 23. Rodon personally became just the 6th pitcher all time to miss a perfect game because of a hit batsman. What a crazy night it was around the world of sports. Meanwhile, the biggest story of the day in sports was in Columbus, Ohio. As we stand 2 weeks to night 1 of the NFL draft, and Justin Fields is not done doing work. You can see the faces of some very well-known NFL people behind him looking on as he went through, Justin did, a second pro day for Ohio State. Among those who were there, Kyle Shanahan, the 49ers head coach, Josh McDaniels, the Patriots offensive coordinator. Here's a list of teams that we can confirm were in attendance, and each of them interesting in their own way. The Niners, the Panthers, Broncos, Patriots, Bears need a quarterback. So much to get to here. Let's start diving in this morning with Louis Riddick and Field Yates, who get up with us early here this morning. Fellas, thank you as always. And so, Louis, what is the significance to you as you look at that list of teams that were there to see Justin Fields? I mean, they're not there for their health. What is the significance of those teams coming out to see him this close to the end of the process?
Well, Greeny, I think they're all trying to figure out just where Justin Fields ultimately is going to slide to, if in fact he does slide. And they need to do their due diligence, and part of the due diligence is making sure we get an up-close and personal look at him, regardless of the fact that this isn't football. He isn't in pads. He isn't actually executing, the game in an 11-on-11 scenario. We want to look at him firsthand, up close, and watch him throw this football as beautifully as he does. And you see right here, that interaction, that one-to-one interaction between him and Kyle Shanahan, those kind of things, look, coaches value that kind of stuff. Josh McDaniels was, right here on your screen, standing there talking to Kyle. They value this kind of thing. They like to look a guy in the eye. They like to see how the ball comes off his hands. Here you have Pat Shurmur talking to Ryan Day. These guys need this kind of up-close and personal look because it just makes them feel better about, in the event that they have the opportunity to draft this young man, that they have at least put their eyes on him one-to-one. And again, there's not a whole lot you're going to get out of this because Justin's going to tear this up. And he did, just like he did the first time when I was standing 6 feet away from him watching him throw. And my eyes were popping out of my head at just how beautifully this guy moves and throws the football. But to have these specific teams, to have Carolina, have Denver, have New England, have Chicago all there, they're sitting there they're gathering intelligence in the event that this young man starts to slide. What do we need to do as far as drafting him if we're in position to draft him? And in the case of New England and Chicago, if an opportunity presents itself to move up to draft him because we see him falling, we want to make sure we have done everything possible to be able to make an informed decision.
So that's one side of it. And then Field Yates, the other side, is the 49ers in attendance. They don't need him to slide. If everything goes the way at the top, we are overwhelmingly led to believe it will at 1 and 2, he'll be sitting there for them. So to you, Field, what is the significance of the 49ers making this trip 2 weeks before the draft?
Yeah, Greeny, I think part of it is due diligence, right? Understanding that the 49ers may very much have their plan in mind right now. I mean, the momentum pushing towards Mac Jones at this point is just too significant to ignore. At the same time, you want to go there, you want to have an opportunity to at least give Justin Fields a fair shake, as your primary decision makers and Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch were in attendance at Mac Jones' Pro Day, the first time that Justin Fields had his opportunity to showcase his skills in this format. And as Lewis will be able to tell you better than I can, that's for sure, is teams are always going to study the top quarterbacks in the draft, even in the event that they don't wind up taking that player. First of all, is their own homework to see whether they want to take that player or not, as could be the case with San Francisco. And if nothing else, Greeny, this is an opportunity for the 49ers to get a feel for Justin Fields as an individual, as a competitor, as a thinker, as a thrower, that you may be playing against him a couple years from right now. And that kind of small bit of homework that's done right now in April of 2021 could pay off down the line. But it still feels like, despite everything that Justin Fields has done during his college career and during the pre-draft process, it still feels like Mac Jones is the odds-on favorite to go 3rd overall to the 49ers.
And that then brings us to other teams that are there yesterday, Lewis, including the Carolina Panthers, who are sitting at number 8. And they just made a pretty aggressive move for a quarterback a week ago. So as we start looking at places that you would pinpoint, you, Louis Riddick, as one who has studied this stuff as closely as anyone, would pinpoint as the likeliest spot for someone to trade up to if they wanted to take Justin Fields. If indeed slipping to 8 can be considered slipping in the draft, if Fields is sitting there at 8, is that the spot? Everyone, Mel in his mock draft identified 10 as the spot that New England would move up to. It feels to me like 8 might be a very interesting spot for New England, Chicago, any other team that wants to come up to take the quarterback.
Yeah, no question about that. Look, I think Matt Rule understands that, look, when he said just the other day that, look, if Justin Fields or any of the quarterbacks that we like are sitting there, when our time comes up to pick, yeah, we have to have those conversations. He's also letting people know, hey, look, you don't know whether or not we still would be in the market for a quarterback or not. And when people hear that kind of thing and they start getting scared about the fact that, maybe our guy wouldn't be there, do we need to go ahead and pick up the phone and call once Carolina is on the clock? And I think that without a doubt is going to be a pivot point in the draft if Justin Fields does happen to get past San Francisco at 3 and he does slide down to around that 8 spot. I think that's going to be a pivot point as far as, is there going to be some action right here? Our team's going to start calling. And if you're Matt Rule and you're on the clock, there's no doubt that you're not going to be in a hurry to turn in your card. You're going to know who you want to pick, but I'm going to sit and wait and see if my phone start ringing, if seeing the people start calling. And I would bet it will start ringing if in case it starts to play out that way.
All right, and this party this morning is just getting bigger and better. Look who's here. The big fella, Booger McFarland, is ready to go, gets up with us today as we get Booger in. Boog, good morning. And so let me come to you on this as we sit here sort of kicking around the meaning of Justin Fields' second pro day. Throw out everything we've heard. Throw out all the mock drafts. Throw out all of that. In your opinion, as one who evaluates these quarterbacks, where should he go in this draft?
Third, and I think if you're in San Francisco and you traded up and you put the haul in front of Miami that you did for you to get that pick, I think you got to come up and you got to get the guy that gives you the most potential, the most ways to be as dynamic as he can be. I get the Mac Jones fascination. Understand the quarterback position has always been about decision making and accuracy. I get that. That will always be the calling card for any great quarterback. But when you can get that with Justin Fields, plus you get 6'3" and you get 235 that's running a 4.4. Why would you not want all of it? Why would you not want a guy that could possibly become the next Deshaun Watson? Deshaun Watson just had one of the greatest seasons as a quarterback we've seen in the National Football League. And you have a guy in Justin Fields that has all the measurables, that has all the traits to become that guy. Why would you not want that? And so if I were San Francisco and I was on the clock and I'm picking third, I look at the 2 pro days that Justin Fields has had. I go back, I look at what he's done. I look at the conference he's played in. I look at all the traits that he has, and I say, what about this guy do you not like? What about him? Because, again, I've used this analogy before. When I go to the car dealership, Greeny, I want the car that has all the amenities. I want everything. I want the car that can park itself. I want the car that can drive itself, not just the car that can go 140 miles an hour.